episode 526 of Good Luck High Five.
That's right. You're listening to a podcast that's for you if you play Magic the Gathering, no matter if you're playing it in a snowstorm or in a heat wave. We are here for you.
Chances are you're in the snowstorm because it seems like half the country is getting hit.
I believe about half the country.
Wow.
Roughly one half country.
I'm one of your hosts, Maria.
I'm another one of your hosts, Megan.
And we are hunkering down for the snowstorm that's about to hit us. So we hope that your internet connection stays active so you can play some Arena.
Right after this, I'm going to the grocery store. I'm purchasing a lot of snacks.
Yes.
And then I am going home.
What snacks are you going to get?
Ooh, this is a really good question.
Yeah.
I have already made some sweet snacks. So I'm going to, I
need salty.
Yeah, exactly. I need to up the savory snacks.
Oh, that's a good idea though. I could
so
make
maybe,
cookies.
Yeah. I've been craving, maybe like a salt and vinegar chip.
Oh, what are you, British?
I love Maria. I will eat salt and vinegar chips until my mouth
is disintegrates.
Yes, destroyed until it is physically so painful. My eyes water as I'm eating them.
I think that's the idea. Yeah. Okay. Well, you've inspired me. Now I need to go get a snack haul before the storm hits. Thank you for hunkering down with us here on Good Luck High Five, everybody. We just got off a plane and boy, are our arms tired. And the rest of us, quite frankly. My brain is in a state of some kind of degree of melt after the Pro Tour.
Oh my goodness. I took a nap yesterday and I am not a big napper, right?
Yeah.
It's just hard for me to fall asleep and take a nap. But I was simply trying to watch television and I passed out.
Yeah.
I was so tired.
Yeah. I fell asleep very early last night and as a consequence woke up really early this morning. And I still am just, I feel like I ran a marathon. Yeah. And in some ways we did.
Some ways you did.
So we're going to tell you all about what it was like to be back at the very first Paper Pro Tour.
Yeah.
Since 2019. And we're going to tell you what happened in the tournament as far as Pioneer goes, as far as draft goes. And then we are going to break down draft for you based on the data from 17 lands.
That's right. If you're like, wow, what should I be drafting? We're here to tell you that the good news is that there's a lot of stuff that you can draft in this format.
Yes.
It is exceptionally draftable across the board, but there are some surprising, very good cards.
Yeah, and I think that helps a lot when you're approaching your draft. A card that is you might not be taking highly enough can really make a difference in your outcome.
Yeah, so I'm really excited. We have some guessing games for the two of us about some of this data because it is so fun and surprising. So stick around.
You can play along at home. You know? You really can. But before we jump into the pile of goodness, much like Scrooge McDuck, we are going to say thank you to everybody who helps us make this show.
Thank you so much to everyone who is a patron of this show over at patreon.com/GLHF.
Yeah.
It really, truly means the world to us. We have no new patrons in the past week. What? So this episode belongs to no one. Remember, if you want an episode that belongs to you just have to become a patron or up your pledge. If you're able to, it really does mean so very, very much to us. Keeping this show on the air for everyone, whether they can be a patron or not. Keeping the broadcast coming out of your cat's mouths.
That's right.
Keeping, our studio nice and sounding nice like this.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. Become a patron, patreon.com/GLHF Magic. Get a shout out, access to our Discord, and rewards based on your tier level, which can be as little as $1 a month.
Wow.
Yeah, it can be anything.
What a thing.
What a thing.
What a thing.
Thank you as well to our lovely sponsor, Card Kingdom. You should check them out if you've never checked them out. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yeah, if you have never gone, despite having heard us tell you about them again and again, you have never gone to cardkingdom.com/GLHF, you should go. Just take a look.
Take a look.
Take a look.
Take a look. There's right now you can pre-order the Phyrexia All Be One Complete bundle, which I've had my dirty little paws on this thing, and let me tell you, it is freaking sweet.
Nice.
You get
complete,
like the cool oil slick cards.
Ooh,
you get those. You get the full art oil, not oil slick, but the full out foil lands from this set that are a panorama. You get 2 oils I don't know. What are they? I can't even think of what they're called. They're so sweet. The black, sweet cards. You get those. The Ichor treatment. Thank you. Complete. Complete. I showed that to people who don't play Magic, and they're like, wow, I think I want to play Magic now. Ooh, when they saw this bundle, by the way.
That's so nice.
It's so cool.
Well, there you go.
There you go. You can get it.
Cardkingdom.com.
At cardkingdom.com/GLHF. Let's talk about the return to the Paper Pro Tour.
Wow. Maria, how did it feel?
Wow. Okay. So yeah, this past weekend, if you didn't catch it on Twitch, was Pro Tour Phyrexia, the first Paper Pro Tour since Pro Tour Oko, we're going to call it, in November of 2019.
We'll call it Pro Tour Oko.
Oh, we will. That was won by Andrei Strosky after he had notably quit Magic. So this is the first time we're slinging paper spells in a building together again in human person. Walking into the hall for the first time and seeing the tables set up and the stage set up in the same way that it had been for all those Paper Pro Tours we attended in the past years was kind of surreal.
Yeah. It was like walking in, it was a blast from the past.
I feel like I teleported. Yeah, I felt like I had teleported 10 years ago. Well, it wouldn't have been that long, but whatever. Back to, I just felt like I was, minus 5 years old.
Absolutely.
It was weird.
It was very, very cool. My very favorite thing was on Thursday, the day before the tournament started. There are these big testing teams.
Yeah.
And some of them, like notably Team Handshake, which did very, very well, had lots of players who had not been to a Paper Pro Tour before.
Right.
And never done a paper draft.
They're all the young players that were great on Arena and online.
And so they were practicing the time, like the judge called draft. Yes.
Wow.
Right. There was like someone standing there at the table with a phone and like other players sitting at the table.
You have 20 seconds.
Yeah, being like, okay, draft, pass
13 cards to your left.
Exactly.
Everybody out there, if you've never heard a time draft, like it is very, very cool. Yes. I'm going to tell you, and extremely nerve-wracking to participate in, because somebody's there timing you. You can't look at your picks between packs. You just have to remember somehow.
Yeah. You can look at the end of pack 1 and the end of pack 2.
And that's it.
That's
it. There was players also on Team Handshake who told us that there was people on their team who had such bad, they'd never really played in paper that they didn't know how to hold their cards. And so they were inadvertently showing their hands to their opponents. Like my grandma would always say, breast your cards, breast your cards. They were not breasting their cards.
That's just such a grandma thing,
isn't it? Isn't it just? Yeah.
Wow.
And I'm like, yeah, because they just aren't used to playing in physical paper Magic. It's so cool.
Very, very cool.
And then, of course, for the first draft of the morning that kicked off our coverage on Friday was, called Time Paper Draft. And Luis Scott Vargas was our first featured drafter.
Yeah.
It was his 40th birthday. Cute little birthday present. But I saw him running up to the stage to the feature match draft area. And I have never seen him look happier in my entire life. He had the biggest smile on his face. So excited, like this is his life that he has gotten back in a way.
Yeah.
And just to see how stoked he was, Gab Nassif was beaming from ear to ear, everybody.
Yeah.
Ear to ear. The players were so excited.
It was great. It was great to see so many people so happy and to be back in this experience.
And like there's nothing like hearing the cards go.
It's so nice.
I loved it.
It was so much fun. It was a great experience.
Vibe.
Great vibes.
You just can't get that vibe on Arena.
Let's talk a little bit about, day 1 kicked off with a Phyrexia All-Will-Be-One draft. And there were 26 players who went 3-0.
Yes.
And just a quick little breakdown.
That's of 218 PS.
Yes. A little breakdown of who went 3-0 with what decks. Red-white, there were 4 3-0 drafters.
That makes sense.
4 in green-black, which will be surprising given some data that we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
4 in blue-white, 3 in red-green, 2 in green-white, 2 in blue-red, 2 in white-black, and blue-black, and red-black, and then 1 in blue-green, which was Gabe Nassif.
That was him. He made it work somehow.
Yeah, a nice spread, right? Like,
seriously.
Yeah, you see blue-green a little bit underperforming here, but you also see like red-green, one of the considered best color pairs, if not maybe the best color pair in the format, only having 3 as compared to some other color pairs having 4 4 people going 3-0 in that draft.
Yeah, if you would have asked me if this would have been the spread, I would have told you no.
Yeah,
I would have thought that
been very surprised.
red-green would have stomped everybody else. But it could be, too, that people knew red-green was so good going in that they kind of avoided it.
Or it was overdrafted at tables.
Absolutely. I talked to Kyle Rose, who is the Ham TV, one of the #1 Magic Online drafters from set to set.
Yeah.
And I said, what do you want, a pack one, pick one? And he said, not a green card. Because he didn't want to fight over it and be in a color like green white that he didn't think would perform as well as a color pair like red green. So he wanted to stick in red for his pack one and would pass green if he could.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there was testing houses too. That, for example, Martin Yuza, who's a really good drafter, was like, I would be happy to be in blue-black, which, I mean, shocked all of us.
Yeah.
Shocked. But if you get the uncommon bird that comes back, like...
Oh, that bird.
I mean,
Quite good bird.
Quite bird.
Quite bird.
If you, like we talked about this last week, if you find yourself some really powerful uncommons in red, blue, or blue-black... potentially you'll be okay in your draft.
Yep, like a Serum Core Chimera.
Exactly.
Or a Voidwing hybrid.
Yeah. Otherwise, you might have a little bit of trouble. But yeah, a good spread.
Very nice.
A good spread. Yes, so started off with draft, then we moved to Pioneer.
Yes, so let's talk about what were the best Pioneer archetypes this weekend.
So the metagame for this tournament, by the way, was incredibly spread out.
Yeah, the top deck was Rakdos midrange, but it had less than 15% of the field.
Yeah.
And then right after that was Mono Green Devotion. And again, not a huge chunk of the field.
13% or something like that. So there was not one deck that dominated, which we mentioned Pro Tour Oko being like the last, tournament that was held in paper. And that was like, the spread was not even like this across the field over a ton of different decks. We talked to so many different people, and their answer to like, what is the best thing to play this weekend was, what do you have the most reps with?
Yeah.
What do you know the
matchups for?
Yeah, exactly. So you can play whatever you want. But what do the numbers say?
The numbers say, Maria, get ready to give us another gasp.
All right, I'm ready.
Because the best performing Pioneer deck was Abzan Greasefang with 67.6% win rate.
Wow, that is a really good win rate.
It is quite good.
And it didn't crack into our top 8.
I know. It nearly did, to be fair.
It came in nearly
ninth.
did. It came in 9th. Yeah.
David Inglis piloting it. And I think part of it is, Team Handshake, which is that very large testing team with a lot of really good younger or up and coming players on it, was split between Abzan Greasefang and Lotus Field combo.
Yes.
But that's right. That's just like a very good team that puts in a lot of testing.
Yeah.
And so that I feel like is part of why this deck did so well. It was in the hands of a team that did a lot of testing to determine that it was good and who put in a lot of reps again to just know those matchups.
Yes, 100%. Those kids, turns out, good at Magic. And Rat and Car was your favorite going in. So
I love Rat and Car. Maria, there is some really good news for you, though.
Yes, there is.
Because multiple Auras decks did very well.
They did! Celestia Auras made it all the way to the finals in the hands of Benton Madsen. But also Orzhov Auras was a good performing deck here. Let's take a look at the numbies.
Only one person played it.
Only one person played it, but
they went 6-3 with it in Pioneer, which is 66.7% win rate.
That's really good.
Yes, Celestia Auras then was 63.2.
Beautiful.
Omnath to Light, which, there were some people out there just doing the many colors thing, and I respect them and I like them. Omnath to Light at 61.3%.
All right, that's fine. I mean, to be fair, there's a bunch of decks here with a nice positive win rate.
Yes, exactly. There's
a lot of them. Auras did well. Angels had a positive win rate. Greasefang, like we mentioned.
Yeah.
Enigmatic Fires. Not a lot of people playing that deck, but I love that deck.
Yep. I think one of the decks that, again, had a positive win rate, but is maybe kind of surprising for people because I think that they thought it was better than this going in, was Lotus Field Combo.
Yeah.
Very notable to me. It has a 52.7% win rate, which, again, considering that there were a lot of people who are on it who are very good players, and that the people who played it were like, you're playing it because you think that it's the best deck.
Yes.
And the only reason why you would maybe not play it is because it takes a lot of reps to master that combo. I'm very surprised that it's only down there at 53%.
Yeah, that's a good point. The other combo deck that, in fact, won the whole tournament in the hands of the Team Channel Fireball member, Reed Duke, was Is It Creativity?
Ooh, I love this deck. And this deck one is so cool.
Had a better win rate, which was 54.8.
Yes.
So if you're talking about combo, it looks like Is It Creativity is a way to go over Lotus Field.
Yeah.
At this moment in time.
So this Is It Creativity deck, for those of you who have not seen it.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
The way that it works is that you are...
Just kidding.
You are winning. You are winning the game. So you are trying to make some early treasures, maybe with like a Fable of the Mirror Breaker, gets you a treasure with your little goblin token, or maybe with a big score, because that also draws you lots of cards for your combo.
Big score would be a card, right? Like
playing. A 4 mana card.
4 mana, make some treasures,
draw some cards. But it is very excellent, it turns out, because then you want to cast an Indomitable Creativity, exile 2 treasures, and then get yourself a little World Spine Wormy.
Yeah.
And a little Xenagos, which... Speaking of cards that you are surprised.
Yeah, exactly.
That are relevant right now. Xenagos, for me, God of Revels.
Yeah, it's weird.
Is very surprising, but you get that little combo.
So you do it for 2, and then you go and find any creatures.
You have 1 World Spine Worm and 1 Xenagos, which are the only 2 legal targets in your deck. For that. And then, you get a World Spine Worm, which is a 15/15, and then a Xenagos, which has an ability that says at the beginning of upkeep, or at the beginning of combat on your turn, target creature gets +X, where X is its power.
Yeah.
And haste, which is very relevant, and trample.
Tramps.
So it just, it does the whole thing. It's like, here's a 30/30 trample worm.
Get wormed.
Hasty trample worm. Here's a 30/30 hasty trample worm. What are you going to do about it?
Would you still love me if I was a worm?
Well, if you were a 50 or a 30/30 trample worm, yes.
You better. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, exactly. If you don't, things are going to get bad.
So you just worm them.
You worm them big time.
They die. That's the plan.
Maria, as you mentioned, this is the deck that took the whole thing down.
Yes, indeed. Reed Duke won the tournament, which in a way is, you've got to say, it's about time for the Dukester.
Absolutely.
Is in the Hall of Fame, but had never won an individual title.
Yeah.
In a Pro Tour.
Which is
kind of weird.
Which is weird. Also, very normal, right? A lot of people, when they look at Hall of Fame, they're talking about how many top 8s did you get?
Sure.
But a lot of people who are in the Hall of Fame and have a bunch of those top 8s do have a win to their name. And now Reed Duke is amongst them, of course. Also in this top 8, speaking of Hall of Famers,
yes,
there were many.
There were multiple.
There was Shota Yasuoka, which it was just so delightful to see us return to paper and Shota just be like, "Hey, I'm just going to remind you." Baby. FYI, I'm one of the greatest players of all time.
I'm wearing my little turtleneck and my blazer to come here and show you that Magic Dad is in the building. And all you young kids on Team Handshake might think you've got it, but
I'm here to be no, I'm the one who's got it.
Excuse me.
Gabriel Nassif as well, also a Hall of Famer.
Welcome back to paper. That's all I have to say.
Pretty great.
Yes. Shota was our first player to make top 8.
Yes.
Made it look easy, quite frankly.
Yes.
Waltzing in after 12 wins.
I think in round 13, right? He went 12-1. Was just 1 loss. Okay.
Okay. Oof, so good.
Really, really cool.
And then, of course, Gab Nassif, too. And then we also had this balance out with a bunch of players. This was their first Paper Pro Tour.
Yeah. None other than reigning world champion Nathan Stoyer.
Yes.
Was here in the top 8.
He just won the world championship.
Turns around and top 8's a Pro Tour, which is just absurd, right? There were so many narratives this weekend that one was one that was only touched on when there are other times and you'd be like, this is the top story. It is pretty absurd for someone to win one tournament and then turn around and top 8 the next one. That is, if the Hall of Fame were still a thing, right? That is
you gotta start
future Hall of Famer territory.
Absolutely it is.
It'd be a long time before he was...
And he's what, 20?
Exactly, before he was actually able to be or eligible for the Hall of Fame. But when you talk about people who have done that, you're talking about people like Paolo.
Yeah.
Right? Who have managed that kind of feat before, like Luis. And that's like, that list is quickly like, now we're arriving at the end of the list of people who have back-to-back won and then top 8 at another event.
Derek Davis was here in his first top 8, as was Benton Madsen, who made it to the finals. Chris Ferber, first top 8. Like, which is really fun.
Yeah,
to get
absolutely.
some newcomers mixed in there with these old Hall of Fame pros, and young world champions.
Old.
But it made like a really nice mix for a top 8, you know?
Yeah, absolutely.
There were 6 different archetypes in this top 8 too.
Which is really cool. So as we already mentioned, obviously there was that Is It Creativity and Celestia Auras, but then Shota was on Rakdos Midrange. The only copy of Rakdos Midrange in this top 8.
Yeah, I will mention Rakdos Midrange did not have a very good win percentage across the weekend. That was one of the surprising things that happened. Its win rate was 46.4%.
That is rough.
Which is pretty bad.
Especially considering that Shota put a big dent in those wins. I mean, like Shota was like, I'll make most of the wins happen for you. They're like, nobody
else can win with this. Oh, well, Shota can. But,
Shota can, but like, whatever.
You know, he's a machine.
Of course, right? Like, Shota could also win if you handed him a deck of playing cards and we're like, I
played 8 of clubs. Oh, guess you got it.
Derek Davis was on Enigmatic Fires.
Love this deck.
Was a really cool deck to see in the top 8.
I played this deck in Historic. And wow, it's fun.
It's so fun. This is where you're just playing like lots of little enchantments, and then Enigmatic Fires or Enigmatic Incarnation is the card where you get to like sack an enchantment and then go get a creature. It's like Birthing Pod, but turn enchantment into creature. It is delightful. It's cute. So weird. It's an 80 card singleton Yorion deck.
Yes.
Essentially,
everybody.
The creatures are singletons usually because it's a little bit toolboxy, and then the enchantments are they have 3s and 4s of.
So that made me happy to see that deck in the top 8.
It was really great.
Nathan Stroyer, our world champ on Lotus Field combo, along with Chris Ferber, U.S. regional top 8er. He made, by the way, he was like, I won 7 in a row at the regional championship to make top 8 to make this pro tour.
Wow,
isn't that so cute?
Wow, that's so great. I will say, we'll get to it in a second. Takumi Matsura was on Mono White Humans.
Yes.
Which again, I think especially like Corey Baumeister was in particular really talking about how impressed he was with Takumi's play on Mono White Humans.
Yeah, for sure.
Again, that deck did not have an excellent win rate in this tournament.
Really bad, quite honestly.
Yeah.
36.4%.
Woof.
That's horrible.
That's really awful.
It's awful.
But Takumi made every win that he got look easy.
Looked like that deck was on fire.
Exactly. He was just kind of like curve out like 1 drop, like Thalia, other Thalia, Thalia's lieutenant, everyone have counters, so you're dead.
Yeah.
He made it look like it was a very powerful deck, which was very impressive.
Maybe one day it will be again, but right now looks a little poopy.
Yeah. Yeah, so we were saying, right, this top 8 looks really good for all of these old school paper pros, these Hall of Famers, but it also looked really good for regional championships.
Yes.
Right? Like this top 8 was like a highlight for, hey, you can go to an RCQ and then make the regional championship. And then, oh, hey, by the way, from there, you could go and top 8 a pro tour.
Right, exactly.
Because Derek Davis, Takumi Matsura, Chris Ferber, all 3 of them were regional championship qualifications.
Yes, absolutely.
Also, Shota was.
I mean,
in addition to 3 other ways that Shota qualified.
Do you know what he did after he made the top 8?
What?
He went onto Arena and played in the Arena Championship qualifier.
There you go.
And made it, of course.
And like he's already qualified for the next event.
It doesn't matter.
He went to the Japan and Korea Regional Championship already being qualified from having been at the World Championship and having a good performance at the Streets of New Capetta Championship.
Let's go.
And was like, oh, also, I'm going to earn a qualification
He needs the bar to be higher. He's like, this is too easy.
Exactly.
Excuse me, I need to qualify at least 4 ways, or I didn't qualify
or I
at
didn't
all.
qualify. Like, oh, qualifying one way is good enough for anyone else, but Shota's like,
nope.
We're not stopping.
Let's
here.
go.
Thank you so much.
Unbelievable.
Really, just really absurd.
So those second for which season? We're in season 1 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And so season 2 are RCQs at your LGS. That's so many letters. FYI.
So the
GTG.
next set of regional championships are about to get underway, starting this first weekend of March that's coming up. And if you want to play in a regional championship, the RCQs that are about to start are for the regional championships that come later on this year.
Right.
Like kind of in the end of summer range.
So that one, so if you go to your store to play in an RCQ now, it's qualifying you for Pro Tour number 3,
I believe, or maybe even the one after that.
Okay, so you have the ability to check it out and qualify for Pro Tour down the road. I'll just say one more thing about the decks and the win rates and all that kind of stuff from this weekend. Mono Green Devotion was a deck we were, talking about going into the weekend. Like, is this going to do well? And it was a solid chunk of the metagame overall. It was number 2 at 13.8%. The win rate of that was also under 50. That was 46.6.
Jeez, really rough. And another one, another popular one like this Gruul, kind of like Gruul mid-rangey
Gruul
style
vehicles,
deck, like 48%.
Not great.
Real bad.
Yeah.
Real bad.
And that was the third most played deck at 9.6% of the field.
Well,
so
congratulations, Maria. Auras is the clear winner of this.
Thank you. I won the Pro Tour. I can't believe I did it. And it's funny too because the finals was Reed Duke on Is It Creativity versus Benton Madsen on Celestia Auras, which is kind of a replay of when Reed lost.
Yes.
To a Boggles, and playing a Boggles deck.
And he proved that Boggles, that he both should have lost that past one by repeating that event by making the Boggles player lose.
Pretty good. History is a fun thing.
Yeah.
But very happy to see Reed finally capture a Pro Tour champion title for himself. Couldn't have happened to a nicer guy. And also it showed the power of Reed's haircut because both he and Benton had the same
haircut.
That haircut, very powerful.
As Pascal Maynard pointed out, she's like, if I had hair, I know what haircut I would get to improve my win percentage. It was like, apparently that haircut has a lot of magic power in it.
OP.
All right, everybody, we're going to touch on draft again.
Yes.
In part, I wanted to touch on the fact that some of the 2-color pairings have shifted around in terms of their performance.
Yeah, mostly at the bottom.
Yes, exactly right. Gruul is still up here at the top, being the best deck. Celestia still up there, being one of the best decks. Boros up there, being one of the best decks. But kind of at the bottom, Dimir has sunk all the way to the bottom now.
Dimir has fallen to the bottom like rocks in a lake. It is like a witch.
51.7% win rate, which is just abysmal compared to, Gruul is 58.4.
Yikes.
Which is just an enormous...
That is a pretty big gulf.
Yes, discrepancy there. And mostly just I was struck by, Dimir, how far thou hast fallen.
I mean, it's pretty sad. Like, you can win with it, like we mentioned at the top, but you are certainly putting yourself in a tough spot.
Yes.
If you're in that color pair.
You need to have all of those Voidwing hybrids.
3 out of 4 dentists do not recommend Dimir to you. Like, you can play it, but we don't recommend it.
And the cavities that you get from it are insane.
So Dimir is at the bottom. Who else is down there? Is it? We knew that.
Yep. Cynic has climbed a little bit, right? It's now 3rd from the bottom.
Okay.
It's clawing its little way up there.
It's trying. And Golgari, 52.0.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Golgari was the other one that stood out to me.
Yeah.
52%. It is now the 2nd worst color pair.
Yikes.
Just pretty rough.
Yikeroonies.
Yep. But Maria, let's talk nitty gritty.
Okay.
Let's talk about the top 10 commons.
Yeah. So this is a very important information to know, y'all, when you're drafting, because commons are going to be what the majority of your deck is made up of. And it's going to be the easiest to read when signals are coming your way. If you're seeing these cards a little bit later in your packs, you know that that color is open and ready to be drafted. What's number 1?
The number 1 card for game in hand win rate commons is Chimney Rabble.
Chimney Rabble!
I mean, I love me a Chimney Rabble. It's a 3 and a red for a 3/3 hasty boy.
Hasty boy.
Who also gives you a little 1/1 goblin.
It's great.
That 1/1 goblin is an overperformer.
Yes, it is.
It does such a good job.
You want to have a mite you're trying to attack me with?
Oh, that's so nice. Here's just my little goblin. There's X ones that it trades with.
Absolutely, that 4/1.
Exactly. There's the 3/1 that has the indestructible counter or the oil counter that you can remove to give it indestructible. And it's they want to save that for when you're trying to trade with a 3/3. But all of a sudden they attack with it and you're like, haha. Yeah, here, I'll throw my bonus goblin in there. Bonus goblin.
I wish I was a bonus goblin.
I don't know, Maria. Life's pretty hard as a bonus goblin.
Yeah, your job is to block, I guess. So
your job is to die.
But if you're trying to sell something, you're like, hey, it comes with a bonus goblin.
I'd be like, yes,
I'm in.
Hello,
I'll take that
knock knock. I'm a vacuum salesman. Can I interest you in
the year
this?
is 1963.
Can I interest you in this vacuum?
Yes, absolutely. I will buy it, but only if you have something nice to throw in.
Oh, I'll throw in a bonus goblin.
In.
All right.
I've got the money. My husband's at work, and I'm holding the purse strings.
Oh, spicy.
Yeah, it's about to get spicy in this scenario. Number 2, this card is one we saw. Basically, don't ever pass it.
Don't pass a Contagious Vorak.
It's a 3/3 boy.
It's just a
land.
it's a 2 and a green for a 3/3 boy, and that is already just a good rate in this format.
Yeah,
a 3/3
absolutely.
is really nice, and you know what? It get you land.
It get you land.
And if it don't get you land, it proliferate.
Yep. Number 3 is a little unsuspecting card that you might not have assumed would be at number 3 when you saw the set spoiled.
Wow.
Crawling Chorus.
Well, slap me and call me Elishnorn. I didn't see this one coming.
1/1 white toxic dies makes a mite.
Like, hey Maria, did you know that the third best common in a set is going to be a 1/1 for 1? What?
I would be very surprised. But if you told me that, I'd be like, oh, now I know everything about this set. Thank you. Yeah.
Next up is Hexgold Slash. This is the single red for a instant removal spell. It deals 2 damage or 4 if the creature is toxic. It's just very good.
So good.
The fact that it costs 1 mana, instant speed, bonkers.
And the fact that the things you want to kill are things with toxic. So like,
it gets the job done.
Stupid when it hits something for 4.
Next up is Basilica Shepherd. This is less surprising to me. This card is just quite good. You have a 3/3 flying body, and you get 2 mites. Nice.
Yeah, very good. And you often see that card later than I think it deserves in a draft. Barbed Batterfist is up next, which is the
Once again, gobsmacked.
red equipment that has 4 Mirrodin.
Yes.
Basically, it's a 2/2.
It's a 3/1.
I mean, yes.
It's a 3/1, but you get the 2/2 rebel, and then you get the equipment that gives me +1/-1.
Yeah.
Why is it so good? It just is.
It just is.
It just is.
And then you can put on other stuff if you need to later. It's cheap. Planar Disruption is up next.
Unsurprising. This is the 1 and a white, better pacifism.
Yep.
It's just real good.
Would you expect better pacifism though to be this far down the list?
No, that is shocking.
Like,
I would expect better pacifism to be very towards the top of a best commons list.
Right? It's just better pacifism. Yeah. Anyway. After better pacifism is Furnace Strider 4/5.
Wow, 4/5 hasty boy can give something else haste.
Yeah, and that just points to the power of haste in this format.
Yes,
just like
Chimney Rabble being in the top 10.
Yep.
Hello.
Smacking face. You want to be fast and you want to smack face.
Indoctrination Attendant is 9th. This is unsurprising to me. This is the 3/4 for 3 and a white. You can return something to your hand and make a mite. And there are just so many cards in this set where returning something to your hand is very good. We just mentioned Planar Disruption. The number of times that you can get back a creature that has been Planar Disrupted or Mesmerizing Dosed.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Is just... like that alone, I think, makes this card go up a couple of spots because it's so good.
And if you want, you can bounce your Basilica Shepherd to make yourself more mites.
Yeah. Also very good.
And finally, Hazardous Blast coming in at number 10.
Really? This one is a shocker to me, but also an unshock.
Get it?
Hazardous Blast, it's the 3 and a red, deals 1 to everything your opponents control, and their creatures cannot block this turn.
Yeah, so once again, just enabling a swing in with everything, and then wiping their mites, which...
Wipe your mites.
Mite nannies know a lot about that.
Wiping your mites.
Wiping your mites. So I'm going to ask you, Megan, what is something that's absent? What are a couple of things that are absent from our top 10 commons list?
A blue card.
A blue card. Great. What else?
A black card.
A black card. Yep.
Wow.
That is telling.
No blue. No black.
Wow. Science is cool because now you see, look at this. And Demir being
just told
dead
you
last on the
blue
color
black
pairs.
Is the worst color pair in this format right now.
Boom. That's science.
Here we go.
Boom gets scienced. Data. It's pretty cool. Data,
Very
not
cool.
just a character on Star Trek, everybody. Something to look at when you're drafting.
To look at when you're drafting.
Now we're going to break it down by color to let you know what are the best commons, top 5 commons in every color.
Yep. So first up in white, obviously we talked about Crawling Chorus.
Yep.
It's in that top 10. Basilicus Shepherd.
In the top 10.
Planar Disruption.
In the top 10.
Indoctrination Attendant.
In the top 10.
Wow, white's looking quite good.
Yes, it is.
Four of its top
Holy
5 commons are in the
canola oil.
top 10 overall commons.
Good gravy.
And then bringing up the
rear, I'm going to put that in quotes.
Right, like very deep. Very
the
close,
rear.
Is Flensing Raptor.
Yeah.
Gosh, Flensing Raptor is such a beating.
I love Flensing Raptor.
It's so good. Flensing Raptor is just a really good Magic card.
These cards are very, very good. And
Yes.
4 of the 5 in our top 10. That tells you what you need to know about white.
Yep.
Very deep.
Next up in blue.
Okay.
This top common in blue is shocking.
I'm gonna find out where this comes in the commons list, by the
Wow,
way.
yeah, please tell us how far down.
Yeah.
It's Chrome Prowler.
All right.
This is the 3/2 Flash Kitty that taps something down, which that card is just so deeply
God.
medium.
I don't know how I can't count this
Like
high.
you can't count how far down it is because it's so far down.
Yeah, it's more than 20 down.
Oh my goodness.
So
You have to go.
It's under the Fair Basilica, which is a land.
Yes, you have to go 20 cards deep
More than that. It's more. But
Wow.
there
to
you go.
find the first blue top performing common Chrome Prowler. Gitaxian Raptor.
The
Why are we
1/4
even talking
bird.
about these? They're not good cards. I guess if you end up in blue, here's what you're looking for. Malcator's Watcher.
Don't even know what that card does.
I think, isn't that...
Does it
Is
make
that the
something
one in a
4/4?
blue 1/1? No, that's an uncommon.
Oh, yeah. Let me look.
What is
Malacor's Watcher?
Malcator's...
Malcator. Yeah, you're right. It's the 1/1
Okay, it's
that
the
dies.
1/1.
And you can draw
And
a
you draw a
card.
card. Experimental Augury.
Gross.
Yeah, and Mesmerizing Dose. Like, wow. Just wow.
Wow. That's rough.
It's quite bad.
That's rough.
Next
Let's
up
move on
is
to our other worst color.
yeah, our other worst color, black. Maria, can you look up how far down is the top black common,
Yep.
which is Anoint with Affliction? Unsurprising. This card is quite powerful.
It's a good card.
Yes, it's 1 in a black. For an instant, you can exile a creature that has mana value 3 or less, or if your opponent is corrupted, you can just exile a
All right.
creature.
I'm going to shock you.
Okay, tell me about it.
It's number 11.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
Yep.
It's just outside that top 10.
Yeah. Yeah. Just outside. So it's good. And when supported with white black is a good color
It
pair.
is well, when you have the best color on your side.
Yeah. So number 2, Stinging Hive Master.
Yep, just a little 3/2 toxic, leaves a mite behind.
Blight Belly Rat. Toxic Rat.
Again, and proliferates when it dies. Testament Bearer. Is this the 4/1?
Testament Bearer.
I believe that this is the 4/1 when it dies.
Yes,
you
it
get to look
is.
at some cards and take one.
Yep.
And Whisper of the Dross. So that's the -1/-1 for a single black that you can proliferate.
Yeah.
Also.
I mean, to me, like Anoint with Affliction and Stinging Hive Master, like, okay.
Those are quite good cards.
Those are good. But the rest, I'm like, oh, they're
Whatever.
okay. Red, we already know what number 1's going to be.
Yep. Chimney Rabble, Hexgold Slash, Barbed Batterfist, and Furnace Strider, and Hazardous Blast.
All of them. This is the first time this has ever happened in the history of this show.
All 5 of the top red commons are also in the top 10 commons of the set,
Unbelievable.
which is absolutely busted.
That, I've never
So
seen
between
that.
that and
white.
between that and white, you take up 9 of the top 10 spots, and green's like, I'm gonna chuck this Vorak in
I have
here,
1 card.
please.
Wow.
Let me get this Vorak in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's unreal.
Absolutely.
Unheard of. Dirty.
Wow.
Dirty and disgusting. Okay, green.
Green, we've got Contagious Vorak, which we already talked
Knew about that.
Next up is Lattice Blade Mantis. I am unsurprised. I really like this card.
It's a great card.
I'm always suspicious of like a 4-mana 4/3.
Yeah.
It just kind of feels like, don't I just want a 3-mana 3/3 instead?
I'm suspicious.
I'm suspicious.
But why is it better?
Because it gets its little oil counters that can make it an attacking vigilant 5/4, which is obviously just very, very good.
Spilled all over myself
Yep.
attempting to drink from a can. I've never drank from a can successfully in all of my years of life.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right. It's a good card, and it does enough to be worth the extra mana.
Yeah. Next up is Ruthless Predation.
What a good removal spell.
It's just a good removal spell, man. Rustvine Cultivator. That is a shock. That is the 1/2 for a single green mana.
Yeah, I can
and
see
it's
on the
not
oil.
even a good mana dork. It's a mana dork that you have to put like a lot of work into, and it's not any good until turn 3, even if you played it on turn 1.
I think you just want its oil counter. You want its gross little.
That's true. You
to have
want
its gross little oil
you want
on
its
it.
little oil counter on it.
Things I care about oil counters like Oil Gorger Troll, which is the next one on the list.
Also, kind of surprised, right? Like a 5 mana 3/4 is unimpressive usually. Like that life gain in this set is quite good.
Draw a card.
Draw a card, and the fact that you gain 4 life.
It's huge.
Very big in this set.
I would, the fact that Oil Gorger Troll is not higher on the top 10, is not in the top 10 list, I think is another huge neon sign that's like, this format is fast.
Yeah.
Because this card is good enough, I think, in most other sets to be in the top 10.
Yeah, for sure.
So the fact that it's not is pretty telling.
All right, Maria, we have reached the guessing game portion.
Okay, great.
You know the worst performing card in the set.
I do.
That's not a land.
I do. What do you think it is, Megan?
My first guess.
This is it's a common.
Yes. My first guess is Zealot's Conscription, which is the 1 mana white that gives like plus aura that gives +1/+1 or something. And if they have corrupted or if it has toxic, it's like
a white card. That
is bold. Actually,
bold
okay, wait. Let me think about this. I'm gonna choose a dumb blue card instead. As much as it pains me to say that,
yeah,
it is so painful for me to say I will choose a dumb blue card.
I can also tell you the color.
Hold on.
Okay.
I want to make a guess.
Go for it.
Ooh.
The worst performing card.
The worst performing card. It's going to be something that I'm like not even thinking, like that I can't even think of, right? Because it's so off the radar.
This is the worst performing worst performing common. I'm going to put that out there. This is not the worst performing card.
Wow.
It's the worst performing
There's an uncommon
common
that performs worse?
Yeah.
That's exciting.
It's a rare that performs worse.
Oh, is the rare the 1 black that gives all your creatures -1/-1?
No.
Because that card seems quite bad.
The worst performing card, period, is a blue card. It's Encroaching Mycosynth, which is 3 and a blue. It's a rare artifact. Non-land permanents you control are artifacts in addition to their other types.
I did not even know that card existed.
The same is true for permanent spells you control and non-land permanent spells you own that aren't on the battle. It does nothing.
Wow.
It literally does nothing.
I did not even think that card existed.
And then the second worst performing card is a blue mythic. Like, we're really telling on blue here, which is Ickermoon Gauntlet. And this is the weird Planeswalker one. That's 2 and a blue for an artifact. Planeswalkers you control have 0 proliferate and -12 take an extra turn after this one. So this is like some weird like commander situation card. Yeah. And then the third worst performing card overall isn't also blue. Mind Splice Apparatus. It's a rare. 3 and a blue flash. At the beginning of your upkeep, put an oil counter on it. Instant and sorcery spells cost 1 less for each oil counter on it. Okay?
Okay.
And then the fourth performing card is blue. Mental Misstep, single blue. Counter target spell with mana value 1 or less. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Then we have 2 colorless cards, both rares.
Wow.
And then we get to the one you mentioned, the black card, which is a 3/4 that gives your creatures -1/-1.
Okay, yeah. That card seems quite bad.
Yeah, but this is the worst performing common, and it's a card that has seen many reprints over its life.
Wow.
Which just surprises me.
I'm so curious to know what it is. I'm going to that's seen many reprints?
Yes, got a lot of reprints. Trivia.
Now I truly don't know. What is it?
Duress.
Wow. Do you know what, Maria?
Yeah.
I was going to guess Duress, but once again proving that he can do whatever he wants and be excellent at the game of Magic.
Did he play this?
Shota cast so many Duress in Limited on day 2.
Unbelievable.
In Limited. Because he's Shota and he can do whatever he wants.
That's so funny. Oh my God. Yeah.
I believe that he was one of the only 3 6-0 drafters, and we got to watch him cast several Duresses.
Duress's game in hand win rate is 42.2%.
Wow. And again, I was like feeling it, but Shota manipulated the data.
That's so funny.
Should have personally
Once
manipulated
again,
the data.
personally manipulating the data not only of 17 lands, but also the Pro Tour win rate of his deck, Rakdos Midrange. Okay.
Okay.
Now you're going to quiz me.
Yes. So I have the list of the top 10 cards.
Overall.
In the set.
Regardless of rarity.
Because notably, the top card in this set is the rare Miglaw's Maze Crusher.
So good.
Because this card is so good. This is the 1 red-green for a 3/3. It have a bunch of oil counters. It has many things it can do with those oil counters. It can get Vigilance and Menace.
It's a 4/4 PS.
Oh, it's a 4/4 for 1 red-green? Of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is. Why not? It can get +2/+2. It can destroy artifacts.
And it's in the best color pair. Whatever.
It's just very good. Next up is Shieldred the Apocalypse, because the Praetors are in this set. I have, Maria, FYI, here's another personal draft data point for me.
Great.
I've gotten wrecked by each and every Praetor in this draft format. I have gotten wrecked by my opponent casting a Shieldred. I've gotten wrecked by a Jingataxis.
Oh, God.
I've gotten wrecked by a Vorinclex. And I have, in fact, gotten wrecked by an Urabrask.
Wow, that's
And I have gotten wrecked by an Elish Norn.
Holy cow.
All 5 of them, I have the bingo.
You have personally been wrecked by
every single Praetor that you can find in
incredible
Phyrexia all will be 1 pack. Anyway, Shieldred
I'm
is
taking
number
that
2.
personally now.
Next up is Nissa Ascended Animist. That card is so good.
It's really, really good.
Also, I've been personally wrecked by Nissa.
Yeah.
The Eternal Wanderer.
Yeah. Card's sick.
I had an opponent who had this is going to make you barf.
Okay.
I was sure that they were basically nearly dead. I had them down to literally 3 or something obscene like that.
Yeah.
They had the enchantment, the mythic enchantment that when you put counters on something, it deals damage to any target equal to the counters that you've put on it.
Okay.
Which is usually only fine. Except that then they cast an Eternal Wanderer, and when you put loyalty counters onto a Planeswalker, when it initially enters the battlefield,
oh my God.
it counts those. And then if you tick it up, it counts those. Oh, so they cast an Eternal Wanderer, and then they cast I believe that they cast a Koth. Wow. Anyways, that was busted.
That's
it was
busted.
Wild. Archfiend of the Dross.
Yeah.
Sorry, this is story time with Meghan
here you
now.
go. This
because
one's
I will
good.
also tell this one. This happened to me just last night. Right, my opponent cast a turn 4 Archfiend of the Dross, and I planar disruption it. I'm like, sick.
Got
right,
you.
you're gonna have to proliferate, or you're just going to die to this card. I've got it.
Because if you've got to take the counters off of it, and if you can't, you lose the game.
This is 2 black for a 6/6 flyer that gets 4 oil counters. At the upkeep, you remove an oil counter, and then if it has none, you lose the game. Which usually 6 turns or 4 turns with a 6/6 flyer is a lot to get the job done.
Sure is.
And so I was like, yes, right. It's locked down.
Happening.
It's still on the battlefield. They're going to die to this. My opponent untaps and plays a second Archfiend of the Dross. I was like, rip.
Wow. Bad luck.
I'm done.
Bad luck.
It was very funny. Next up is White Sun's Twilight. Unsurprising.
Yep.
Very nice rare. The next card on the list is an uncommon.
All right. So Meghan told me that there's 2 uncommons.
There are 2 uncommons in this list. We've reached the first one. Maria, what do you believe the first uncommon in this list is?
I believe that it is Annex Sentry, 2 and a white for a 1/4, uncommon Phyrexian Cleric. That's a toxic 1. When it enters the battlefield, exile target artifact or creature an opponent controls with mana value 3 or less until it leaves the battlefield.
Maria, you have not guessed the card that I'm asking you about, but you have just guessed the other uncommon that is in the top 10 list.
Okay.
Annex Sentry comes in at number 9, ahead of number 10, Elish Norn, Mother of Machines.
Okay. So that was my first guess. Here's my second guess. Is it Cinder/Ravager?
It is not.
Oh, that's the 4 red-green one.
It is Bladehold War Whip.
I would not have guessed that.
This is 1 red, white for a 4 Mirrodin equipment that gives the creature double strike, and other equip cost 1 less to equip.
Oh, okay. I would have been a few guesses in before I thought of that one.
Right? That is, to me, shocking.
I've never played it.
I had a draft where I had 2 of them. It was quite good.
Oh, it seems very good.
But you know what? I just felt like my Flensing Raptors were better, if I'm being honest. And then the other card that rounds that out is Luca Bound to Ruin.
Oh, okay. Great.
Which that card is very good.
Yeah, it's really good.
The minus on it, you can spread the damage around however you want. It's not it deals damage to one thing. equal to the greatest power among creatures you control, it deals that damage divided.
Wow, that's very strong in a format of little creatures.
Very, very strong. So yeah. Wow. Annex Sentry. Well done.
Oh, peel that one off the top
right
of my
off
brain.
the bat.
So what have we learned?
Wow. Draft red and white cards.
Draft red and white cards. Draft fast decks.
Yeah.
The end. End of.
Period.
Yeah. I guess you've got to be aggressive in this format.
You really do.
And I don't know if there's a way to draft control. If there is, it probably involves playing the Oil Gorger Trolls in some kind of way.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. Or having like we were saying, like if you have a lot of uncommons in one of those less good color pairs, like if you have a lot of Serum Core Chimeras, you can make a quite good deck.
Yeah.
If you have a lot of Voidwing hybrids and Proliferate, you can make quite a good deck. But it's just so much harder.
Tough road to hoe, as they say.
Yeah.
Have you ever hoed a road, by the way?
Wait. I think it's a tough row.
Oh, yeah, that makes more sense. Row to hoe.
Yes.
Have you ever hoed a road?
Did you up until now think that it was a tough road to hoe?
Well, sometimes you gotta hoe a whole road, you know what I mean?
No, I don't. I don't think I should.
Hold on, I'm Googling it. I'm going to see it. Tough road to
Google's going to be like, do you mean a tough row to hoe?
Hoe. That. Oh, this is an argument.
Oh.
This is an argument. Grammarbook.com. A lot of people say a tough road to hoe when they mean it is a tough row to hoe. That's funny. So it's not just me. At least it's one of those sayings that's not too old that you completely have no idea what it means. But whatever you're hoeing, it's tough out there right now.
Real tough.
In Phyrexia, all will be one draft. But if you manage to draft an aggressive quick deck, you're going to feel pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
What a draft format. I am having a lot more fun with it than I've had with the last couple of sets.
It is fun. Even though I am always disappointed when there is a format, when there is a color pair that is just so dumpster that you are just like,
yes, you're like, I don't want to end up in it.
I don't like when that happens. But regardless, the other stuff is pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Even despite it being so fast that I give it credit.
For sure. It's a fun format to draft. I've been enjoying it.
Everyone, thank you so much for listening to this episode and listening to our voices through all of our con crud colds.
Yes. I'm here.
We're here. We made it in.
We're here. Are we a little tired?
Yes.
But are we so appreciative of you?
Yes.
Thank you again so much for listening. Thank you to everyone who is a patron of this show. We say it every time, but it's because it's that important to us. Thank you so much.
We would love to dedicate the next episode to you if you become a patron or increase your patronage on patreon.com/GLHFmagic. Every time we get a notification of a new patron or an increasing patron, it literally makes our day. So if you're like, I would like to make Maria and Meghan's day. Well, hey, this is how you do it. You can. You absolutely can.
For literally as little as $1 a month.
So thank you so much, everybody. And thank you again to Card Kingdom. Check them out at cardkingdom.com/GLHF. Get yourself a shiny little bundle because guess what? You deserve it.
You deserve it.
Or get yourself some sweet foils for your commander deck. They've got everything you need. And I'm a huge fan of blinging out your deck. We just played some Commander, by the way.
Yes.
We did.
It'll be available soon to watch.
We'll let you know when and where that will happen. And even though our hands are so small.
Our hands are so small, and yet we shuffled those decks.
And yet we shuffled those 100 cards.
I can still, I can still feel it. I can still feel it in my little joints.
Yeah. And everyone's like, when are you going to play cards? Commander? Well,
hey, we did.
We did.
And
so
there's some really cool decks.
We recorded it.
Courtesy of Judge Rob.
Judge Rob got us some awesome decks.
So stay tuned.
Stay tuned for that, everybody. What else am I going to tell you? Have a great day and stay safe through this winter storm, okay?
Stay warm.
Stay warm.
Tell us what snack you're eating.
Oh, we'd love to
snacking out there?
You can tweet at us at GLHF Magic with the hashtag which
snack in my snack?
snack in my snack.
Yeah. Or the hashtag tough road to hoe.